Hey everybody, it's Raven and welcome to my channel, and this is for entertainment purposes only. I think I forgot to say that in my last video, um, but it is. And I was sitting here just doing these cards and just shuffling, listening to something when Mermaid popped out. And I had a really strange feeling, like there was somebody here, a young girl. And a girl named Chelsea has come forward and asked if she wanted me to talk to her and tell her story. She said yes. Now, one thing I've not done on this channel is post videos I've done where I've channeled some victims who are no longer here. The first one, I got through most of the conversation and realized it was an e-victim. I didn't want to make assumptions because it could have been, Diddy, R. Kelly, um, but they're all e-victims. That's the thing. So, Chelsea, what would you like us to know? What is going on that you want to talk about? Okay, I'm going to set those aside and go with the mermaid. Let's go with the true crime deck. I think that's the best way to go and start just seeing what she'll tell us. Can you tell me where you were when you were no longer alive? She's very afraid. We'll see if this video goes anywhere. Chelsea, let's start with the cards. Why don't you let the cards tell your story? Oh, I know she's here. Let the cards tell your story so you don't have to. Right, we got one. Oh, is that interesting? Love. Um, they told me I'd be loved. They told me I'd be loved. So I'm an emotional and physical empath, and I pick up those things from the living and the not living. Um, she is really sad. Let's see what else we can get. I still think this is the best deck to go with. So let those flyers come. What else did they tell you, Chelsea? What else did they tell? Ooh, almost had one. What else did they promise you? Okay. Oh, they're starting to come now. There we go. What else? That's okay. You can tell your story. You're safe now. You are safe. And you can say whatever you like. They can't hurt you. They can't get to you. She thinks they can. Almost like she was told, even when you're gone, we can summon you through like a seance. Geez, that's too many. And we can still have a hold on you. Who does that? Someone flip over. But I'm going to start with what we have and then go back to more. Um, I think the mermaid, she loved mermaids. I think they use that somehow against her. Somehow the Disney princess world. Disney princess, is that it? I don't know if they, I don't feel like she got a trip to Disneyland or anything like that or Disney World. I'm gonna set that aside. Yeah, so she was told she would be loved, cared for, she would be safe. So the first aid kit, she would be safe. That's what she was told. Um, Okay, she's taking me to this one. She was used as a gift. She was given as a gift. And she was given as a gift to an older man that was practically her grandfather. And she was told, just think of him as a friendly grandpa. She felt trapped. Organized crime, because it was obviously very organized. It was regular neighborhoods. This was not anything that was high rise. This wasn't the New York place. This wasn't the island. These were regular neighborhoods. Average apartments. I was 12. I was 12 when it all started. I was 13 when I died. It was a lot of perversion. They were the devil. And again, that life insurance, if you saw my last video, you know that I've mentioned I've gotten this multiple times. Now, there are, like I said, some videos I've done, I've not posted, mostly because the content was so either graphic or triggering that I didn't know if it was safe to post it, so I haven't, but I keep getting this card when it comes to the victims. Now, the last video, I said that I truly believe there's a record of getting payouts. Now, did they have life insurance on her? I don't know, but they had insurance against them, against their life. That's so for her, that's what this means. So threats, things could be worse. I'll make things worse for you. Insurance to them that she would be compliant, because they were threats against her life. Okay, I need to ask her, wooded area. Is this, were you dumped in a wooded area? No. What is the wooded area? Said it was her biggest fear. Her biggest fear was being left in an area like in the middle of the woods where there's no way she could find her way out. It was like her greatest fear. So they used that against her, probably threatened her with it. Okay. Okay, Chelsea. What? We got more. What else? You're doing fantastic. You were doing so good. Now she's talking. She felt, so I'm going to go back to the word, the trapped inside. She was only let outside to be moved around. She was only let outside to be moved around. She said, everything was so foreign to me. I didn't understand what was happening. Her trauma response was to just completely shut down. It was a disaster they made. Okay, Chelsea, help me understand water and beach, because they kind of go together. She actually went to the beach when she was a kid with family, grandparents, real grandparents, not the one that card represents. And she liked it. This was her safe place in her mind. Okay, in her mind, this was her safe place. You know how I do past life regressions with people, and so one thing I'll do is I'll have people say, What is the one safe place in your mind you can picture? The safe place could be a cabin in the woods. It could be, the beach. It could be anything, the tree house you had as a kid, anything at all that is your safe. So this is where she'd go mentally. She would go to the beach. She'd be on the water, or on the beach with the water shoreline. This was her safe space in her mind. It's where her consciousness went when things were being done to her. Again, going back to perversion. Okay, Chelsea, can you, oh, this one flipped over. I don't know if it flipped over or not. Okay, was there anything else on this, from this deck we need to look at? She was told when she was taken to these apartments or these, and she said average looking homes, that it was a date. And those other videos I've done that I have not published, also I get this card, and this has been consistently that there's a lot of evidence in the desert. Which desert, I'm not sure. But there's a lot of evidence in the desert. I just don't know which one. And that was something she heard, is it will put you someplace where no one would ever find you. We'll put you in the middle of a desert and no one would find you there. It was kind of a phrase that was used over and over. You're doing great, Chelsea. Is there anything else you want to say? I was just a child. Yes, you were. You were just a child. This is not your fault. You did nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. Taken to motels, usually not high class ones either, and to party. And again, with a partner. Like, remember that dating, or was the dating one, right? It was a date. So partner, not spouse, but partner on this one. Partying at not so great locations. Oh. Okay, I'm going to try to put these together a little bit. I can get some clarifiers on this. Any of this here. This is a deck I made. That I don't have any other decks that have these keywords on it out of my 150 decks. It was soul stealing. I'm being genuine. I promise I'm not lying. And she must have been accused of being a liar. Because that's very important to her. Oh, oops. Oh, I lost it. There, it came up again. Good, because I almost lost it. Remote viewing. They were watching all the time. That was the cameras that were everywhere. They were always being watched. And she was told, we're watching you all the time. And the remote viewing in this case would be watching from another location, possibly the camera, versus the remote viewing that some of us can do. I do remote viewing where I'm looking at another location through my mind's eye, but this is actual physical through cameras. We're watching you at all times. Alchemy. It changed us. Oh, of course it did. I mean, absolutely, it would change you. It would change anybody. obviously you can see I'm struggling. But I want to tell her story. Is there any particular details you're comfortable saying that you want people to understand and shed light on? Not for, it was all manipulation and control, not for salaciousness or anything like that. She said, what does that mean? Not for, people to enjoy, the icky details, right? But just to shed light on them. You want to bring them to light. You want people to know just how slimy this all was. They do believe you. They believe you. And if there's any part of your story you want out there, that is too many. You are welcome to provide it. Oh, I can't believe this came up. Remember I said earlier, they threatened her that even after she passed away, they could get her through a seance. They could force her soul to come forward and control her. And she was told by, I feel like Ghislaine or another female, it was a female for sure, that they were going to mentor her. They were going to help her. That's how she was lured in. Okay, you were 12. Were you a runaway? My parents didn't care where I was. And she spent a lot of time kind of just outdoors, hanging out in crowds she shouldn't have. Like no one knew where she was. They didn't care. Said her mom was on drugs. Was usually high most of the time. Didn't know where she was. Okay. Okay. Is there anything else from this particular? Um, okay, we're going back to the mermaid. I'm finally kind of getting an idea. I think in her mind, right, she went to that safe space, but she liked being in her mind, uh, pretending to be a mermaid, right? Because she loved the water, she loved the beach, she pretended to be a mermaid and that she was magical. Green usually represents earth type magic, which is what this card was created for. But in this particular case, it's really representing the magical space of pretending to be a mermaid. And that was where she went mentally. The visual she is giving me, I'm not going to say, because she's showing me some things that were done to her, and I'm just not going to repeat that. Um, it's there's no need to, but let's just say that it's as horrific as you could possibly imagine. I see tied up, um, tied to bedposts. Um, yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that. That's all I'm going to say. But she's showing me a lot of detail. And now I think I need to take some anti-nausea medication. She was so unaware of what she was getting into, and she believed the mentor conversation, the guidance, she said when she was presented as a gift, she was actually wrapped in a bow once. Okay. Chelsea, you're doing great. You are doing so great. Is there anything else? Let's see if we can get kind of some what's beneath. She never had a love story. As a little girl, she dreamed of having, you know, she didn't say I did. She's saying I didn't, wasn't the girl that dreamt about my wedding. like a lot of, some young girls do. But she always wanted to be with someone who cared about her. And she thought that someday she would have that because she didn't have that in her family, her life. And she believed that she found someone who cared about her. This is that female that talked her into, hey, we'll mentor you, we'll guide you, we're going to help you. What you being on the street like this isn't right. She bought it. I'm trying to understand this one. So bank failure. I'm not sure how to read that. I don't know if she's saying that she's just so completely empty. Okay, Chelsea, we're going to go into one last space on this. Can you give me any indication of, do you know any of the men or the females, any of the females that contributed to this, or any of the men that you were presented to? What can you tell me about them? Okay. I've got, they violated every boundary. Psychopath and clingy, very touchy. Everything was touched, everything, it was touched. Okay. I felt stuck. I felt like I was in a dead end. I just actually wanted to die. How can I ask, Chelsea, how did that happen? Because you're here now in spirit form. How did that actually happen? Your passing. Can I ask that? She's telling me to go back to different set, a different these. She said go back to these. How did it actually happen? That's too many, I think. Yeah. Said there were times when she was jealous of some other girls that she thought they were treated better. But it was all a fraud, everything she was told. Can I ask how you passed? She's not telling me how she passed. It was a cult. Felt like I was in a cult. Set that aside. I don't know what that means. Okay, I'm not getting anything on the how. Um, she's kind of saying, I think she's telling me I was drugged and it was an overdose. And it was not intentional. Like they probably would have killed her intentionally, but that moment wasn't intentional. I'm getting she was drugged. Because I hated the drugs, but I also wanted them. Because then I just didn't have to feel anything or be present. Yeah. It was the only way she could get some control. They wanted mind control, but for her, the checking out with the drugs was a tiny bit of freedom. They were so greedy. So this is one I'm not putting this together, but actually, if I post this and you have any indication, any other readers, I got bank failure, debt, and greed. I'm struggling with how these fit with this reading. So I am more than open for anybody who might have some insight on that one. Because as far as we know, like there was never a bankruptcy with this ring. Excuse me, I hiccup. So I'm not sure how that fits. Okay, Chelsea, is there anything else? No, thank you. You told my story. I might come back another time. And she's gone. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to post this. If I do, like I said, if you have any insight, especially with the bank or anything else that you picked up, if you're an empath, if you're another reader, I'd be more than open. Actually, I'm always open. And if there's any questions anybody has that you or suggestions on reading next, let me know. And I will definitely look into it. Thank you so much. Now, please, oh, please, everybody, if you watched this all the way through, please go do something self-care. I don't care if it's going to eat ice cream, potato chips, you know, if you're food motivated with that emotional binge eating. I mean, I just admit that. Usually after these type of channelings, I usually eat something I shouldn't. You know, get on the treadmill if that is, you know, something you love doing, gardening. I mean, this time of year, gardening is kind of hard, but indoor plants, just do something. Take a salt bath if you have to, because I think I am going to do that actually later. So please keep your mental state balanced. And thank you for watching. Thank you for hearing Chelsea's story.